Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
Iran appears to be standing down.
President Trump signaling a retreat from the brink of war with Iran amid escalating tensions. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. The president addressed the nation just hours after Iran launched missile strikes on 2 bases in Iraq. There were no American casualties, but the U.S. general says those missiles were intended to kill.
And we have team coverage on this story, including the push that local Iranians are making for a peaceful resolution. We begin with ABC's Rachel Scott.
Just hours after a counterattack by Iran, President Trump insisted the regime is backing off.
Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world.
The president, who just days before warned the U.S. would strike fast and hard in response to a retaliatory attack, made no mention of a military response in his address to the nation, instead announcing tougher sanctions on the country.
The fact that we have this great military and equipment, however, does not mean we have to use it.
Tensions between the two countries at a boiling point, but maybe a chance now to cool. Iran taking revenge for the death of its top commander, Qasem Soleimani, firing roughly 24 missiles at 2 military bases in Iraq where American troops were stationed. President Trump says an early warning system gave American troops a heads up to the imminent danger. Only minimal damage was sustained at the military bases, but all U.S. and Iraqi troops are safe. Iranian officials defiant, the supreme leader calling the strike a slap in the face to the U.S., ratcheting up demands for President Trump to pull all American forces out of the region. President Trump says under his watch, Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Trump backed out of the landmark 2015 Iran nuclear deal, despite concerns from other world leaders it would increase tensions. Today, he once again asked allies to follow his lead.
They must now break away from the remnants of the Iran deal, or JCPOA. And we must all work together toward making a deal with Iran that makes the world a safer and more peaceful place.
And amid escalating tensions, Switzerland and Oman have stepped in to help the two sides communicate, exchanging messages between Iran and the United States. Today, Switzerland calling on both sides to exercise maximum restraint. Rachel Scott, ABC News, Washington.
And this is the American defense contractor whose killing in Iraq last month had been cited by President Trump amid escalating tensions with Iran. Nuars Hamid was buried over the weekend at a Sacramento cemetery. He was killed in a rocket attack targeting an Iraqi military base. He leaves behind a wife and 2 sons.
This morning, local Iranians rallied in Balboa Park against further escalation.
Our 10 News reporter Matt Boone joins us on this story. Matt, they are now pushing for peace.
Yeah, guys, it's obviously a complicated situation to be in given the politics both here and in Iran, but no one we spoke to today was wishing for more violence.
I'm optimistic, but I'm still holding my breath.
That's how Peter Baravesh summarizes his current feelings. He was at a rally in Balboa Park today as a coalition of faith and human rights groups pushed for a peaceful resolution.
The perpetuation of war in our United States is unacceptable.
Baravesh was there representing the National Iranian American Council. He says the recent talk of de-escalation from the Trump administration is positive, but not reassuring.
Trump might say that this is over and, he's going to end things now, but there's nothing to stop him from unilaterally deciding to assassinate another foreign general.
That concern has sparked similar rallies all over the country. As an American with Iranian heritage, Baravesh recognizes opinions differ among Iranians about the Ayatollah regime, whose government has been accused of torturing and murdering tens of thousands of citizens on political and religious grounds.
There is certainly division within the Iranian American community, as with any community. Most people, though, just want peace.
Even using tactics like sanctions, which the Trump administration announced they will today, Baravesh thinks those could also have unintended consequences.
The idea behind sanctions, supposedly, is that it's going to hurt the government. It doesn't hurt the government, it hurts the people.
And there is going to be another rally here tonight in San Diego. That's going to be at 6 o'clock in Balboa Park off President's Way. In the newsroom tonight, Matt Boone, 10 News.
Matt, thank you. The U.S. Army is warning about a wave of fake text message telling Americans that they have been drafted to fight in Iran. U.S. Army Recruiting Command says that the messages have spelling and grammatical errors, which are a telltale sign that they are fake. Also, the draft was suspended back in the 70s. It could take an act of Congress to bring it back. Military security officials are investigating the source of the phony text messages.
Family and friends laid flowers at a makeshift memorial for the crew of a Ukrainian plane that crashed in Tehran. The Boeing passenger aircraft left Tehran's airport this morning and was heading to Kiev. It crashed just minutes after takeoff, killing all 176 passengers and crew on board. Emergency crews scoured the debris field at sunrise. It's still unclear what caused the crash.
The data shows that this airplane completely disappeared at 7,900 feet. That is very suspicious. Only two things could cause that: a bomb or the aircraft being shot down.
There are also reports Iranian officials will not hand over the recovered black boxes to Boeing or American aviation officials. So far, the crash is not being tied to the Iran missile strikes on an Iraqi base housing U.S. troops.
There is new information tonight about one of the men arrested in connection to the slaying of an Alpha Project security guard. Ernie Buchanan was gunned down outside the homeless shelter last month.
10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz is joining us. And Jen, prosecutors say cameras and DNA evidence led police to these suspects.
That's right, guys. Prosecutors say they have mounting evidence in this case. They have surveillance footage from multiple different cameras, in addition to DNA evidence that they say links Hill to that crime scene. Hearing all of that in court today, the judge raised bail to $10 million. The DA's office describes the moments leading up to the murder of 44-year-old Ernest Lee Buchanan.
Both defendants, Johnny Hill and Floyd Garrett, arriving together, waiting for the victim, Ernest Buchanan, to arrive in his truck.
Allegedly waiting for Buchanan during his shift as a security guard at the Alpha Project on December 28th. One of the defendants, Johnny Hill, listening to prosecutors' testimony from behind the glass of a courtroom.
Both defendants shot Buchanan down in the middle of the street using two separate caliber firearms.
Prosecutors say the whole thing was caught on surveillance camera. Hill and his alleged accomplice, 47-year-old Floyd Garrett, are no strangers to violent crime.
Hill has a lengthy criminal history, including a prior strike conviction for a gang-related assault in 2010, and in 2012, a gun possession charge.
Police say they also found Hill's DNA at the scene. The victim, Ernest Lee Buchanan, was a father of 6 and a grandfather. 10 News spoke to his brother earlier this week, who said there was no reason for this to happen.
So for anybody to shoot him, he wasn't expecting any, he had no issues down there. It was good for him.
A judge ruled Hill a flight risk and a danger to the community and raised his bail to $10 million. After the attack, police say the other defendant took off to Phoenix, where he was arrested and awaits a court hearing next week. Police say both defendants have no ties to the Alpha Project in downtown. The other defendant in Arizona does have a court date later this month before he will be extradited here to San Diego County. Both of them face life behind bars if convicted. Reporting live downtown, Jennifer De La Cruz, 10 News.
Thank you, Jen. 12 years and 8 months. That's how much prison time a Rancho Bernardo man is getting after starting a fire that killed his 2 children. Henry Lopez fell asleep drunk in his Rancho Bernardo home with a lit cigarette on October 28, 2017. That started a fire that killed his 10-year-old son and 7-year-old daughter. Their mother, Nakia, addressed the courtroom.
I grasp air every single second of the day because of what you did. I could never get them back, ever, because of you.
Henry Lopez says he's a veteran who suffers from PTSD and alcoholism. During sentencing, the judge said that Lopez, quote, utterly failed to accept the consequences of his actions. Right now, a San Diego family is putting out a plea for help 13 years after their loved one was killed on the 94 freeway.
As our 10 News reporter Jared Aarons explains, they are hoping something or someone can help bring some closure.
When you met her, you would put a smile to your face, and she had this aura where you would just gravitate towards her.
Edie Torres remembers her big sister, Philarican, as intelligent, friendly, and kind. A great mother, taken too soon.
That's the last picture she took with her daughters.
Philarican was killed January 10, 2007. She was hit by several cars on the 94 freeway. Police called the death suspicious and put out a photo of this Geo Metro as a suspect car. But clues were scarce. As time passed, the case turned cold.
Now we just want that one tip.
Now, like they did in 2009, the family hopes another plea to the public can bring some answers.
I just want someone out there that maybe they heard something in the last 13 years, you know, maybe they heard her name and something come up, you know, to help us out.
Because every passing year, every holiday or birthday without closure brings more pain.
It feels like someone stabbing you in the heart over and over again.
Jared Aarons, 10 News.
The family is offering a reward for information that might lead to an arrest. We reached out to police for an update on this case, but we've not heard back. If you do know anything, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Flu season is gradually getting worse in San Diego. The number of flu-related deaths is now up to 11. That's the same number as this time last year. A 51-year-old woman who had underlying medical conditions died on New Year's Eve. More than 1,600 confirmed flu cases were reported last week. That's about 260 more than the previous week. Health officials say the best protection against the flu is to get vaccinated.
San Diego State has a new football coach. Rocky Long stepped down after 9 winning seasons today.
Our 10 News sports director Ben Higgins was at the SDSU news conference, and the Aztecs didn't waste any time naming Rocky's replacement.
Working very quickly, and everything is just coming full circle at San Diego State as the man Rocky Long replaced as head coach will return to the job as Rocky heads off into the sunset.
I've been a head coach for 20 years. It's time. It's time. I love coaching, but I don't necessarily love all the things that head coaches do.
Rocky Long says retirement is very much his decision.
They tried really, really hard to change my mind.
And when they couldn't talk him out of it, athletic director J.D. Wicker moved quickly to find a replacement.
I had no desire in any way, shape, or form to blow up what we have.
And that meant hiring Brady Hoke, who served as SDSU head coach in 2009 and 2010. He guided the Aztecs to a bowl game in his second season before leaving for a high-profile job at the University of Michigan. Hoke was fired after 4 years with the Wolverines and had just returned to SDSU last season as Rocky Long's defensive line coach.
It's a great opportunity. I can't tell you, you never get to do something twice that you really want to do.
And Hoke takes over the program at a critical juncture with San Diego State trying to keep the momentum of 10 straight bowl appearances as they work to build a new stadium in Mission Valley. If all goes well, he'll be the coach that takes them into that in a few years.
And Brady really had a strong program, a lot of really good recruiting when he left here, too.
Yeah, I mean, he set up Rocky Long for the early success that he had, but by then, now it's Rocky's program.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Brady Hoke's coming in and kind of taking over again.
Okay.